This conference will now be recorded.
So in today's class, we are going to discuss about your splitter ALV. So how do you work with your splitter ALV? And then we are going to discuss about your the last thing, the docking ALV. So these are the two concepts that are pending in our ALV. So how you are going to work with your splitter, and then the oops ALV tree, ALV tree, and then we will be having something called as your docking container. So the docking container. So coming to your splitter ALV, uh, we can split the container. We can split the container into multiple, and we can display the data. So if I have a container, let me open my paint window. So I have a screen like this. In this screen, I will go ahead and create a container. This is my container, and in this one you can able to split how many columns you want, or how many rows you want, and how many columns you want. Like this, we can able to split our container, and we can able to display the data in each of your container. So in order to split this, we will be having a class called as CL underscore GUI underscore splitter. So CL underscore GUI underscore splitter. This is the one where you will be having CL underscore GUI underscore splitter container. So this is the one you will be having. So you have to use that class and container. So you have to use this class, and with the help of this, we can determine how many rows and how many columns we want. How many rows and how many columns, how many columns we want. We want that we can able to do that. So now once you have splitted this, so so entire container has been splitted into multiple parts. Now in that, the part of a container, we need to add the data. So for that, we need to use again a one more class called as CL underscore container, called as CL underscore GUI underscore container. So in this, so we need to provide our container. Whatever the container we have, we just need to provide that one. So CL underscore GUI underscore your container. So in this, we need to provide our container. So after this, we will be going and displaying the data in those containers. So this is what we will be doing it. Just give me one second. Okay, so this is what we will be doing it. So now let's go ahead and see the example program for this. So let me log on to SC38. I'll go ahead and create CR7AM oops ALV splitter container splitter. So now let me click on create. So I'll say this as example program on ALV container. So I'll go ahead and create this as executable program. I'll be going to save that in my package as well as in the TR. So now I'm just going to write this as no standard page heading. No standard page heading. So whatever I have shown you for your ALV with the structure in the same format, you guys has to practice when you want to write your code. When you want to write your ABAP code, you guys has to practice that one. But I'm not going to show you in that scenario. So I'll be going to showcase uh, in the normal way. So when you guys have been practicing, you go ahead and create the includes local class definition and local class implementation and everything. So now what I am going to do, so my requirement is I want to display the material details and the material description details in one single ALV container. So this is my requirement. So now first of all, I'm directly going to start off my selection. So now what I will do, I'll go ahead and say call screen. So 9000. So let me go ahead and create the screen. Yes, yes. So split a container. I'll go ahead and create a layout. I'll just go ahead and provide my container name. Okay. So now I'm just going to say this as gc underscore cont. So save it. So now close this one. And then I'm going to flow logic. I'll just activate these two things. And I'm going to my output PBO. Yes, I'm going to do that in my main program itself. And then go back. Yes, I'll go ahead and enable my user command. Yes. So I'll going to say this as in my main program itself. So that's it. Now I'm going to activate this one along with my Dyn Pro. This is my Dyn Pro. I'm just going to activate my Dyn Pro as well as this one. So now here I'll just go ahead and write my select query. Get the required material details. So I'm just going to say this as select. I'm just going to take everything, select star from Mara into table at the rate data of GT underscore Mara up to 100 rows. 100 rows. Now for the same way, I'm going to get the details from MAKT, select star from MAKT into table at the rate data of GT underscore MAKT. I'm just going to take this as up to 100 rows. So now I'm going to call my container. Just give me 2 minutes, guys.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so now I got the details from my GT underscore Mara and GT underscore my MAKT. Now it's time for me to create the container. Check this if it is available. Okay, so let me go ahead and write down the code for the next time. So now what I'm going to write, select start from Mara into table at the rate data of GT underscore Mara up to 100 rows. Same way, I'm just going to get the details of MAKT, select the start from MAKT into table at the rate data of GT underscore MAKT up to 100 rows. So now once I got the data, now it's time for me to initialize the container. Initialize the container. So for that, what I'm going to do, data geo underscore cont is equal to new cl underscore gui underscore custom underscore your container. Custom container. So what is the container name we have taken up? So the container name is gc underscore your cont. So this is my container name. So I'm just going to close this one. At the same time, I'm also going to remove this one. So my container has been designed. So once you have designed your container, so you are going to call your splitter container. Data geo underscore split is equal to new cl underscore gui underscore splitter container. So here you need to provide your parent container. So the parent, you have to just provide your parent container and how many rows and how many columns you want to define. So I'm going to say geo underscore cont and I want one row and two columns. One row and two columns, I just want that. So I'm just going to remove this one. I'm also going to remove this entire one. So my splitter has been created. Now, once you have done your splitter, so it's time for me to go ahead. So for this, so now how many rows we have? So we have done your, you have done one single row and we have created two columns. Two columns. In this first column, I want the one more container to be gets activated in order to display the data. In the same way, I want one more container to be come up and showcase you over here. Now, in that we are going to call our display. In that we are going to call our display method. So for this, I'm going to create the container. So what I'm going to do it. So now here I'll be just writing if geo underscore cont is bound, then only I'm just going to write that. And if, and then here also I'm just going to write if geo underscore split is bound. So that means it has it assigned a memory to that. So when we have done this, so then we need to write so the first one, data geo underscore material is equal to new cl underscore gui underscore the container. I'm just going to write my cl underscore gui underscore your container. So here you need to provide, okay, so for this, sorry, I think I got also confused. Okay, so before we go ahead and do this, so we need to know, we need to provide the containers. So first of all, I'm going to take geo underscore split, and I'll just say this as get underscore your container. Get underscore your container. So my first row and my first column, and in this I'm going to receive my container data of geo underscore material. So if I go inside this container, or if I go inside this method, you can see here this is of type CL underscore GUI underscore your container. So automatically the inline declaration will go ahead and take this, the same thing, it will just go ahead and assign. You don't need to worry about that. So now the next one. So geo underscore split, and I'm just going to take this as again the get container. So the first row and my second column. I want to display the material description. So I'm going to take data of geo underscore mat description, the material description. So this is what my containers is all about. So now once we got these containers, so I'm just going to take this as once we got the container, it's time for me to go ahead and display, to create my ALV grid to display the data. So I'm just going to take if geo underscore mat is bound and geo underscore mat description is bound. So now I'm going to say geo underscore ALV data of geo underscore ALV is equal to new CL underscore GUI underscore ALV underscore the grid. ALV underscore the grid. So in this, I'm going to have my parent container as geo underscore MAT. Geo underscore your MAT. So I'm just going to remove this one. I'm just going to remove this one too. I'm just going to remove this one, and I'm just going to remove this one too. Now, at the same way, data or else geo underscore material, I'm just going to say ALV mat, and data of geo underscore ALV M description, I'm just going to take this as now the same thing, new CL underscore GUI underscore ALV underscore your grid. Control space bar, I'm just using it. So now let me remove this one, and I also remove the unnecessary things which we don't need it. So here I'm going to take the material description. So this is the one. So now it's time for me to display the data. So how I'm going to display, I'll just write a condition if geo underscore mat is bound. So then I'm just going to take geo underscore mat hyphen set table for the first display. So geo underscore ALV mat. So I'm just going to take this as set table for the first display. So here what is my output? GT underscore Mara. I'm just going to have this. So I'm just remove the unwanted stuff. So I'll go ahead and raise my exceptions, and I'll also provide this one. And over here in the exporting parameter, in the structure, I underscore structure, I'm just going to have my Mara. So here, as I'm going to get the entire details of my Mara table, so I just use my structure. If you are going to get only the particular details, you just need to go ahead and create your field catalog. So what we have done in your previous sessions. Okay, so now the next one. If geo underscore ALV mat description is bound, then I'm going to write the same thing, copy the same thing. So here I'm going to take this as M description. So here instead of MAKT and GT underscore your MAKT. So that's it. Do your pretty printer. Okay. So copy paste one more and if. So now I have done my pretty printer. So now let's get activate the code. So in a meanwhile, I'll also try to activate at the main level to see if there are any. Okay, it's got activated now. When I click on execute, you can able to see the two reports. One is for your material description and the another one is, so one is for your material and another one is for your material description. So like this, you can create n number of rows and n number of columns, and you can display multiple ALVs, and you can display multiple ALVs. Okay. Okay. So this is how you can work with your splitter container. Now, the next thing is we are going to see here. I have used in the old style how you work with your old style, but over here when I'm telling in the class, I have completely written in my inline declarations only. I have completely written in my inline declarations only. See this, guys, completely written in inline declarations. No, see, do you see any data declarations over here? No, no data declarations at all. No data declarations at all. So if you have to avoid how much declarations you can do it, and everything has to be done on your inline declarations only. Remember that. Okay. So now the next topic. The next topic we are going to see. So this is what the requirement is before we go ahead with that. So I need a sales selection screen with sales document type and creation data select options. So the tables which I want to get the data are VBAK, VBAP, LIPS, and VBRK and VBRP. VBRK and VBRP. So this is the output I want in the first container. So get the sales order display and sales order item display. I need a hotspot on the sales order number. I need a hotspot on the sales order number. When the user is selected the sales order number, 1 second. Yeah, when the user has selected the sales order number, it has to display the delivery details. So I forgot to mention that. It has to display the delivery details. I also need the subtotals and grand totals to be printed over here. Subtotals on the sales order number wise. Subtotals on the sales order number wise. I didn't tell you, so you have to use something called as your IT underscore sort. If I go here to set table for your first display. So if I just expand this one, you will be having your IT sort. So with the help of this IT sort, you can able to do your ascending as well as your descending. Ascending as well as your descending. So you go ahead and do it, and you can do your subtotals also. If I go here to inside this one, you will be having something called as your subtotal, and grand total anyway you will be having on your field catalog itself. So the same thing, if I go to my field catalog and if I go here, I'll just take this as do sum, do sum, do sum. So where you can able to perform your grand totals as well as your subtotals. So now I also need a hotspot on the customer. When when the user click on the customer, it has to display XD03. It has to display XD03. Two hotspots I needed. So you go ahead and practice that. So once the sales order has been selected, the corresponding delivery details has to be shown in this container. The corresponding delivery details has to be shown in this container. So I need a hotspot number on the delivery number. When the user click on the delivery number, the corresponding invoice details has to be shown over here. But over here also, I need to have my grand total as well as your subtotals. Over here also, I need to have my grand totals as well as your subtotals. So this is the requirement you have to do it. And this is one of the real-time requirement which I have done it, but there is a slight difference. My real-time requirement I have done it is, what is my real-time requirement I have done? Okay, my real-time requirement what I have performed. real-time requirement. I used to get the data from Amazon. So we have our products which we will be selling in the third party websites. So third party websites, we will be selling our products, whatever the products we have, like we are going to sell that in our third party website directly from our company. So we will be sending the goods to their store. From their store it is going to be delivered to our customer. So now we third party website, so let's take Amazon or Flipkart or Myntra. So I'm going to take this as Myntra. So when Myntra has sell the product, it will send the finance data. So the amount that has been sold by Myntra on our products, they will be providing that in the form of your Excel sheet. So where the users will be appending, where the users will append the data, where the users will append the data from your presentation server. From your presentation server, the users will go ahead and append the data. So when we are appending, so we have stored the data in our Z table. From this Z table, we will, so this is we have the data. Once there is a real-time interface also, real-time interface also has been developed. Whenever a sale has been happened, automatically in in our system in our system, that sales data and the delivery data and the finance data will be created. So now what this will do, so this Excel sheet we will be comparing with our SAP data to see, this Excel sheet we will be comparing with our SAP data to see everything has been successfully posted or any errors in posting. So sometimes we do have, if there is a internet glitch, we can get those sales order multiple times, or there can be a change in the data, or there can be a amount errors. All these things they can able to segregate with that. So over here, what I have done, so we used to get this. So now in this header data, the first, so over here, in this we are going to display the first row. In the first row, we will display the data of of we'll display the data of both the external system sum and the SAP data sum. SAP, I'll just write it over here, SAP data sum. So now, so we do have a unique identifier that we have been mapped between our external system and our SAP system. So with the help of that, so now we have done our sum. So now when there is a difference, so they can see that. So we have also provided that the difference column, the difference amount column we have already provided. So it will just check the sum, both are same, it will just show it as 0, and what is the difference it will show it as. And we have added one more column called as your status. So this status will tell us whether it is an confirm or whether it's an how much amount it is difference, it will be have multiple status. So if both are the same, then it will be showing it as completed. If there is -1 to +$1 to +$1 difference, we do have one more thing. So we are just ignoring this -1 and +$1. And if there is more than that amount, it will display as incorrect. Incorrect. Now when they select that the whatever the reference between those two systems they have selected, so it will just showcase the individual documents between our SAP as well as the Myntra. So this is a Myntra and this is my SAP documents. Now in that they can able to see, okay, for this has been created, all these things, and they will be going and checking on the reverse tracking. This is one of the ticketing tool that they have been created to see the difference postings between our Myntra and SAP, or Flipkart and SAP, or Amazon and SAP. Right now we are using this tool in almost like 55 countries. 55 countries we are going to sell our products. So in those 55 countries entire data monthly we are going to receive that. So we want a real-time interface also to be gets developed for this, so they can directly post that one. But as of now that is not in the scope. So that's the reason we have provided that as our presentation layer. But we have written the code to keep the file in our application layer. So that means AL11. So 7 o'clock batch you might be not knowing it, but 8 o'clock batch is knowing about this. So we will be keeping the file in our SAP application directories. From there we can able to read that file. So that is also feasible. We have provided that option too. Right now 55 countries they are using this, and almost like this is going to be one of the greatest tool that we have developed. Previously they used to do that in manually the excel via the excel they used to do it. So the excel columns have been completed, so that much amount of data is there. But right now this robust tool which we have developed, it's going to save their life like anything. So in this also we have added one more thing called as the ticket number. So when they have raised the ticket number, manually they will come and enter over here, so that they will be having the difference and what is the description. So if the ticket has been resolved, what is the description, and they will be changing that to a resolved with the correct description. So that they can know what are the changes that they have been done on this ticket. So that's how the tool has been designed. Like this you can have your complex requirements. This is one of the requirement I have done it uh, 4 years back, not right now. 4 years back I have done it in my previous organization, but still they are using the same tool to post the data, to compare the data, not posting, just to compare the data. Okay, so this is one of the requirement which you can explain so you can say this as reconciliation process between the SAP and my third party system. So we used to get the data, so like this. So we want to reconcile or we want to see the data that has been or else you can say that, so whatever the sales that has been performed my third party website, I just want to compare with the data that has been posted against in SAP. So to see everything is perfectly fine, to see our revenues are exactly matching with the third party tools. For that we have developed an interface where they can go ahead and keep the data in a Z table. From that Z table we will be just checking the data between the Z table and as well as your SAP accounting tables, and we will be just creating a application for them where they can go ahead and maintain the status, and where they can go ahead and create the ticket. So once they click on creating the ticket, so you can also link the ticket to your web URL. So when they click on that, it has to directly open the ticket in your service now, or it has to open the ticket in your Jira, or it has to open the ticket in HPLM. So all those things are also configurable, all those things, so you can enhance that. So when the user click on that, it will just open the ticket in the Jira, and based upon that we can find out what is the exact thing, where the ticket is, in which queue the ticket is, and everything like that. Also you can just enhance that, and once a resolve is completed, we'll just go ahead and change the status to resolve with the accurate description what we have been mentioned in the ticket. So that's how you can able to enhance your requirement when you are discussing with your in the interview. What is a real-time requirement? You have done it. This is one of the real-time requirement. You can say that. Okay. So now let's go back to our ALV. So ALV tree. So tree ALV we are just going to discuss. If the user is asking to display the data in a tree org, so that means, so I just want to display the tree org structure. So the sales order data. So in that I want to show the list of items. uh, like that. So next, sales order 2, I want to display the list of items. Sales order 3, I want to display the list of items. Sales order 4, I want to display the list of items. Or here you can also create for material, you want to display the material details. Like this you can enhance your tree and you can display the data in the form of your tree ALV. In the form of your tree ALV. For that we will be using a class called as CL underscore GUI underscore your tree sample. Your tree sample. In order to work with your tree sample, you go ahead and practice this, guys. I'll just showcase you this. So see here, I'm just going to get the data from my BSEG table. So what is my sorting condition? So that means, so when you're working on your tree table, you just need to provide your sorting condition. So now the field catalog, you can directly use this function module LVC underscore field catalog merge. LVC underscore field catalog merge. If I go to this function module, you can just provide your internal table or you can just provide your base main table. Also, it will go ahead and create your field catalog. It will just go ahead and create your field catalog. So I just provide you that example with that. Without creating of your field catalog, you can ask SAP to create that also. So with the help of this function module, LVC underscore field catalog merge. LVC underscore field catalog merge. If I go ahead and click on display, you will be having your structure name or you can have your internal table. You can have your internal table name. You can just provide your internal table. Based upon that, it will just go ahead and create your field catalog automatically. After that, whatever you want, you can just provide that. Whether I want my do sum or anything, you can just provide that one. So this is also one more option you have when we go ahead and create. Instead of creating the manual field catalog, you can ask SAP to create the field catalog for you. So it will just create the field catalog. After that, if you want to change your descriptions or if you want to change your or if you want to do your do sum or if you want to provide a key or if you want to edit, everything that has to be done manually by yourself. Like this you have to do it. Like this you have to do it. And then I'm going to create my container and just I'm going to create my tree, and then I'm going to use my set table for my first display where I want to provide my internal table, my field catalog, as well as my sorting. Once you provide this one, you can able to see the output like this. So this is my document on which years it has been posted. On which year it has been posted. What is the document? So you have got the details. See here, I have taken up the company code, BELNR, as well as your GJHR. So now your company code will be your criteria. So it has to show your company code. I was at the last. I'm at the last. The first thing, it will show your company code and then the corresponding document and then the corresponding fiscal year it will be showing along with all the details. It will go ahead and show you that one. Along this, it will just go ahead and show you all the details. So this is how you have to do it. So let me go ahead and show you in step-by-step procedure. So I'm just going to create a container. So previously we will be using uh, we have to create our tree. We don't need this grid and we have to create our field catalog. We have to create our field catalog. So I have just got the data and I'm just going to create my sorting conditions on which table you have to sort, and I have created my field catalog, and then I'm going to get my container gr underscore container. So CL underscore GUI underscore container, and then I'm going to have my GR underscore tree. So, and in that tree, you will be having a method called as set table for your first display. You don't need this at all. So CL underscore GUI underscore grid, you don't need this at all. So these are the three things which you needed, which we needed. So this is how you have to work with your tree ALV sample. Tree ALV sample. The next thing we are going to see is your docking container. Docking container. The main purpose of creating this docking container is to dock the container into our screen. Is to dock the container into our screen. So that means we don't need to create a custom container at all. So directly we can go ahead and use this class and we can dock our container. We can dock our container, whether you want that to my right side or whether you want that to my left side. So first of all, I'm going to create my docking. So docking at left. So left side almost it will start the container. So what is the extension, to which area it has to be extended? To which area it has to be extended, and then we will be just going to we'll be just assigning this container. Previously we will be using cl underscore gui underscore container, but instead of that we can just assign your gr underscore cl underscore gui underscore docking container. You don't need to go ahead and create the container. So but you have to develop your screen, you have to develop your screen, but you don't need to create your container. Automatically SAP will go ahead and create the container for you automatically. SAP. So for this, there is this is how you need to. So for docking, this is one of the ABAP block that has been provided. You can just check that. You can just check that. How can you work with your docking container? So these are the ALVs that are available. Majorly, these are the things which you will be working, and based upon the requirement, you have to customize your logic accordingly. So like this, which I have shown you. So like just now I have provide you a real-time example, right? Like that you can have so many real-time example. I have only done oops ALV tree for one time in my 15 years of my career. Oops ALV tree I have done only one single time in my 15 years of my career. Okay. So now the next thing we are going to see is SAP CLSAP, sorry, CLSALV, simplified ALV, SALV, the simplified ALV. What is the issue with the oops? We can't able to, we can't able to, what I mean to say, we can't able to run that program in the background, in the background. So this is one of the disadvantage with the oops ALV, and we need to always create, always create the field catalog. We need to always create our field catalog. So we won't be getting any star. We have to get the data from multiple tables that has to be displayed. If I want to do that, we need to always create this field catalog. So now these two things will be just removed when you're working with your simplified ALV. Automatically SAP will create the field catalog on its own. Even you don't need to call this function module 2. Even you don't need to call this LVC underscore what we have seen. So LVC underscore field catalog merge, you don't need to call that function module also. You don't need to call that function module also. So just say, so CL underscore SALV, the class, and then you just go ahead and use the method display. Automatically it will do the display thing. Automatically it will do the display thing. So those details we will be checking on Monday class. Monday class, we are going to check that. By that, we will be completing our entire OOPS ALV concepts, OOPS ALV, entire classes, entire OOPS ABAP we are going to complete, and then we will be going to start from scripts, smart forms, and Adobe Forms. Scripts, so it's a very old technology. I'll just hand over the recordings of my previous batches. So because right now we are not at all using the scripts in our real time, Only the clients which have been in SAP from past 25 years or from past 30 years, they are using the scripts. So other than that, no other persons, that is, I can say 0.01% or 0.1% of the clients that are using the scripts. Almost the 30 years back companies who are using SAP, they have been migrated to smart forms as well as the Adobe forms. So I'm not going to much concentrate on the scripts. I'll just give you the highlights and I'll just share you the recording of the scripts of my previous batches. You go ahead and check that. And then we will be just concentrating on the smart forms and Adobe forms. Okay. So that's it. So that's the end of today's session. Before I signing off, any other questions? Okay. I'll be considering it as no questions.